Hello, you there?
Hello.
Oh, okay. So I see you have your picture up. Are you able to have your camera? Oh, perfect. Oh, hi.
Hey, how's it going?
That's cool. Meeting you for the first time, Ebony.
It's nice to meet you too. Is it Torian?
Yeah, Torian. Yes, yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure I was saying that right.
No, that's cool. Okay. So and what state are you in?
I'm in Mississippi.
Oh yeah, you did say that. We did talk about that. Yeah, I'm sorry. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, because I was talking about Big Crit. I'm a big Crit fan. Yeah. Um.
Yeah, that's all right.
Okay, so yeah, so let me I'm gonna silence my phone. Because okay, so what we're gonna do, like basically I'm gonna this is like it's gonna be on a it's a segment, it's like a podcast segment. So I'll say, hey, we'll get ready to start, and then I'll do like the introduction of the show, introduce you, and then we'll kind of roll into questions, and then at the end I'll say, all right, do you have any last minute things to say? And then I'll kind of say bye, but I don't want you to like drop off the call. Like
I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm sorry to interrupt. You kind of going in and out a little bit, like your connection.
uh um is it clear now or
It's just a little glitchy, but I can hear you.
okay, I'm trying to figure out what's going on. Yeah, because I have a hotspot. Dang, I don't know why. Oh wait, it's saying something. Yeah, it says voice quality is poor. Try moving closer to the mic, or I mean, I'm in a quiet location. I don't know why. Okay. So is it still glitchy now?
Just the camera quality, but I can hear you just fine.
I'm sorry. Um,
Oh no, it's fine. Can you
okay.
hear me though?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay.
So I was just in there saying, like, once I say goodbye on when I'm talking to the audience, I don't want you to drop the call, like drop the Zoom.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's almost like we're just
Gotcha.
playing. We're playing like we're on a live show, but this is all recorded. So and I did get your artwork. So what I'm gonna do is when I'm talking in our interview, I'll be mentioning like, hey, you guys will be seeing artwork throughout our interview of Ebony's, and so and that's the goal. So but did you have any questions
Okay.
before we start?
Um, Not any that I can think of right at the moment.
Okay, and this is gonna be kind of like going with the flow, and basically like
Okay.
I have like a preset amount of questions I'm saying, but then based on some of your answers, it may kind of go on some tangents. So I gotta just be open. I just ask be open, and
Okay. Okay, cool, cool.
all right, let me know when you're ready.
All right. Okay, so just one question. I do have one question coming up. Let me just put my phone on do not disturb so it's not interrupting the meeting. Okay. So my question is, are you gonna take this recording and just kind of edit it later on to like fit the format of your podcast?
Yes, yes. So the goal is I'm gonna edit like because basically like it's gonna be the Zoom is already recording this as we're talking.
Right.
And so what's gonna happen is the MPEG file I'm gonna have, and I'm gonna basically like from that I'm gonna edit to where I'm gonna insert your images in there, and then also
Mhm.
at the end I'm gonna ask like how can people find you, and so I'll have like
Okay.
captions of your handles and your website and everything on there too.
Okay.
And also in the beginning of the podcast, I have like the title of it, and like I have like a music theme that's gonna play going into like our interview. You know what I mean? And so what I'll do is
Okay. Okay.
I'll give you the I'll give you the actual file that you can use for your own network. Like it's not just I'm not gonna just hog it just for me. Like you can use it for your own network. This this
Okay.
this will actually be on my YouTube page, but then also I have a streaming service platform that's coming out next month, and it's gonna be distributed on smart TVs like nationwide. So your reach will be like United States, like and in a different way than just a normal like, oh, I'm on Instagram, I'm on YouTube.
Right.
So,
Right.
so what I'm trying to do here is really trying to like break the mold, and I think like once people start seeing that, I think it's going a lot of people gonna try to like flock to it. But like I'm just gonna like really be particular on who I let in this little gate, you know what I mean? And I think like I really
right.
want like to work like small knit and kind of us to grow as opposed to having like a whole bunch of people on this ship and it gets heavy and we not moving, you know. So yeah.
Okay, that's what's up. I like that. Okay, that's dope.
So definitely let me know when you like so are we ready to roll? Are we ready to roll?
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready to go. Yeah.
Okay. All right, guys. Okay, so hello everybody. This is Turin Washington here. This is another episode of Process, and we're here always highlighting amazing individuals, creative talent, creatives that are doing things amazing. And here on this episode, we have Ebony and is it Ebony Muse?
Yes, that's correct.
Ebony Muse. And I want to make sure I got that right. So you got to know her name. She's someone that is about to be big time, what she has going on, a great talent. And so welcome to the show, Ebony. How you doing today?
Thank you for having me, Torian. I'm doing great. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. So, okay, so the $1,000,000 question that I ask everybody for the first question in this show is, how did you become a creative? Like, what's like the origin story of Ebony Muse as a creative? Like, how'd you become one?
So really, I've always been passionate about art. I've always been an artist since a young girl. It just came natural. I always had that natural talent for drawing and coloring and things like that. And then as I went to school, like throughout my high school and college career, I was exploring different mediums like digital art. A lot of the art classes that I took really introduced me to new ways of creating. And so once I got out of that, I was sticking with the digital art for a while. And then I moved on to like using markers. And then eventually, that's how I got into acrylic painting. And I didn't get into that until about 2019. And I will say, like, the first time I tried it, I absolutely hated it. I was like, wow, like, but I wanted to experiment. That was the whole thing of it, is I like to experiment with different mediums. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna master this. I'm gonna figure out how to crack the code. So I started doing research, and I got into it, and I loved it. And when I got into it, it was more of like a hobby. My art has always been a hobby that I've been passionate about. And it wasn't until like pre-COVID, where I was like working at the VA hospital in Colorado, where I was like, you know what, I'm too talented to be working 9 to 5s and giving 40 hours a week of my time. And then all I have is the weekend to like, dedicate to my craft. Like, this is what I want to do long term. This is what I want to do for the rest of my life. So that's when I started brainstorming of how I could seriously start showcasing my art, like on social media. So I made my Instagram first. And then I think I had a Facebook at the time. I don't know. But I kind of stemmed with Instagram. And then from there, I was experimenting with posting and using hashtags and, just posting everything that I've been experimenting with. So that's how I came up with Ebony Muse Art, because it wasn't the first name that I had, the first handle that I had. I think before that I was like Blue Moon Artist or something like that. And it was because I could only create once in a blue moon. So it was like a play on that. And then when I realized what my foundation for creating was, it was celebrating Black women, celebrating myself, our melanin, our expression, our femininity, Black love, like just everything having to do with Black culture, So that is where Ebony Muse Art was born. And I changed my handle and I just stuck with it ever since. And so ever since I had Ebony Muse Art, I had everyone start calling me Ebony, because my real name is Sharice, but everybody calls me Ebony, because my handle. So that's how the nickname stuck, and Ebony Muse was born.
Wow. Okay. So I'm gonna, it's you know, I mean, basically everybody, Ebony just kind of hijacked my interview. No, but no, I just no, I just I really, and that's what this is about. It's just an organic conversation, and I really love how deep she went off the first question. And there's a lot there to break down. Even just when people say like, there's a lot to a name, and what you determine as your name, and what your name could, what you call yourself, or what you claim kind of guides your path. So when you said, you know, blue moon, and then that kind of goes to once every blue moon, that didn't really kind of do you justice. But then when you talk about like Ebony Muse, like that's like, and that kind of goes into what you're trying to do in your path as an artist, and highlighting and using that, and Muse like being the source of inspiration, and Ebony of people of melanin complexion and art in the diaspora, and being able to like highlight that, that just opened up things. And then also people calling you that, and that's a big thing too.
Yeah.
So that's also adding a mystique to you too. So it's a lot. That's amazing. I really like that. And kind of going as a segue into the next question is, based on you've identified what your path is, what you want to focus on. Were there individuals that you consider as your heroes, or source of inspiration, of the artists, of the people that kind of like you look to as like, oh, as models?
Actually, yes, I have quite a list of heroes. So I will say that early on, like even before I got into painting, I was doing the marker art, right? One of my first couple of supporters was my dad and my auntie. They kind of saw how passionate I was in creating art, and that I was like posting more often on social media, and how I was testing out, you know, taking in commissions. And so they kind of poured into me in that regard, and that inspired me to like, you know, take it more seriously. Like, you know, there's people willing to pay for my art, you know. So that was really the start of it. And then as well as, I want to say late 2018, that's when I was experimenting, well, not experimenting, but I was exploring my spirituality. I consider myself to be studying like African traditional religion. And part of that is hoodoo, because that's part of my heritage, and my ancestry is to practice hoodoo as a means of survival, especially with the white supremacy, like going against white supremacy. So as I was learning more about my roots, and I was studying ATR, I found this page, Blanco Bruta, and I endearingly call her mother. And the reason for that is because I consider her like a spiritual mother, and she opened the door for me to like learn more about my roots, my ancestry. You know, she was giving that space for Black women such as myself, along with who I consider my sisters, a safe space to really express yourself and to learn more about that, or learn more about your history and the root of African spirituality. So that was another part of how Ebony Muse art was born, because that spirituality aspect is another part of what inspires that deep creativity. So she is a huge hero to me, as well as some of my sisters that poured into me. They encouraged me a lot to keep painting and keep sharing my work. And so that's what I did. And through that, like I said, I was posting on Instagram more than anything. And I found my network of artists and other great artists to follow. And I actually have a list here to share. So give me a second. So some of the artists that I have listed here, I couldn't find all of my heroes, but these are the main ones that I consider like I constantly go back to their pages and see their progression. and I hope I'm saying these names right, but the first one I have here is the artist Sierra Lynn. And all of these pages that I'm listing, you can find them on Instagram. The thing about Sierra Lynn's work is it's very colorful, it's very expressive, it's very empowering. And that's what I love about her work, is that she paints literally on everything. And she shows like you can think outside the box. You don't have to contain your work to just a canvas. Like, you have so many ways and avenues of expressing yourself. So she kind of inspires me to like think outside the box and think of ways to like create in ways I've never created or thought to create before, you know? Another one I have is Whitney Austin. She's really good at just, I think her main thing is like finger painting. So the way that she does it is it's very detailed, and you could tell she really like takes a lot of love and pours that love into every piece that she creates. And it's like every piece that she does is one of a kind. Like, once it's sold, it's sold, it's gone. Like, you don't really see copies of her work like that. So one of the things that really inspires me from her is that she's not afraid to ask her price. She's not afraid to be big and bold with the sizes that she does. And so she inspires me to like stay committed, to be serious about my prices, you know, and to respect my craft in that way, because it does take time to like, you know, you take an idea mentally and then you transfer it to the canvas. Like, that's not a simple task. It's different for everybody. So she inspires me to stay committed seriously in that way. Another artist that I have here is Tyra Powers. She is pretty dope with like, one of the things that she does is she creates her own canvases in the way where she does wood cutting. And so it's like unique shapes that she paints on top of, and she'll put resin on them. And then another thing that I really like about her work is some of her pieces is like, it's like statement pieces. So like, you could hang them on your wall, and then she, like, I don't know how she does it, but she attaches like plants and stuff to them. And it is just, it's dope. It's dope. I haven't seen anything like that. I don't see anyone else doing things like that. So all of these artists is like, I'm inspired by them because they show their own unique style, and they stay consistent with how unique their work is. Like, they're not worried about what anyone else is doing. They stay in their own lane, and they understand the power of staying in their lane. I don't want to get too wordy with my answer, but a couple of other artists that I have here would be B Felix artist underscore Ria, Nikki Lavi, and another one, Mariana Joy. And like I said, you can find all of them on Instagram, but basically they all have a unique way and a style of creating and painting that inspires me, whether it's color, they're like the form, like the way they express the form, like form of the female body. Some of them, they're really good at expressing like the divine feminine aspect, like sexual freedom, being sensual, healing, you know, nurturing, you know, things like that, that I feel like are a natural part of what I feel is like my part of my expression, because a lot of my artwork is all of those things I just listed. So I kind of keep going back to them for inspiration for whenever I feel discouraged, or I just need like encouragement of like, why did you start in the first place? Like, what keeps you going? So yeah, I would say all of those people are my heroes.
Nah, that's amazing. Just definitely like listening, taking on what you're saying. There's a lot to definitely break down, and like I think one thing for us, and like as we're in the interview, Ebony's amazing work is being shown. You'll see kind of that influence of what she's saying, and I want because yes, me myself, I'm of African American descent, in the diaspora, but at the same time, art itself is universal too. But I don't want everybody here like to be like, hey, we're just solely focusing on African American or Black art. But then at the same time, though, in history, there's always mostly predominantly been a focus on the European, Eurocentric art, the Western art, and we a lot of people from African, all these other ethnic groups have been placed as other, and then in terms of like the value of the expression that's brought forth by those types of artists have not been at the same level. And just in recent years, there's been some sort of like a catch up a little bit, and the Black art's been really highlighted up a lot more. Like I guess Black art has been more highlighted, and artists of African American descent are really making strides, but still there's voices that still have not been heard. And I think that just the value, there's still a difference on the value. And I think that just I want us to all be kind of in the same boat together, but celebrate the differences and celebrate works of art by all artists of all descents and perspectives, women artists. And I think too, like it's like we get put in these boxes. I think for you, and even just, I know I'm talking about on a larger scale, just outside of art, but like you as being a woman of color, it's like you have being a woman and being of color. So you have the double whammy, right. You know what I mean? And I think that's like harder in the workplace, professionally. And then even in the art form, it's like it's male driven, but then also predominantly white male driven. And then it's like there's this hierarchy of things. And so just all that you're saying of the people that you see that you're in alignment with and your source of inspiration, and that's kind of like where your track is. But at the same time, I think like it's like two sides where it's like I guess for me, I'm just speaking, I guess for me, I try to be mindful, like, yes, I am that, and naturally my voice is going to speak from those perspectives. So I don't want to, but at the same time, I don't want to limit myself on what I'm inspired by or what like I do. Right. But at the same time, like I want to make sure, like, hey, like I'm representing where I'm from and who I am and where I descend from, and I want to make an impact because, hey, like there's been already claims that's been made of people from all these other walks of life, and they've been dominant for all this time. So I definitely want, I think I just want more equity in the arts, and people and artists and individuals like yourself to be given that proper light because of the talent you have. And you see guys here in this interview as we're talking, just the amazing work that Ebony's doing. And I really thank you for your answers. And so we have 2 more questions. Well, actually 3 more. So the first one is, where do you see yourself in the next like 5 years, like in terms of just your impact, where you want to go, kind of where you kind of project yourself at in the next 5 years?
So that's something that I've thought about thoroughly. One of the things that I think about often is all of the avenues of expression that are available to me. So I know that I don't have to limit myself to just being a painter or just painting on canvas. So one of the things that I've been exploring, well, not one of the things, but numerous things that I've been exploring is like fashion design, getting into makeup, being a makeup artist, and doing nails. I want to get into, like, when I say fashion design, I definitely want to like get into like painting tote bags, doing bucket hats, like just adding a little like jewelry, like crystal, because I love crystals. So I'll add crystals to it. Like I have so many ideas. You wouldn't believe, like when I get the vision in my head, I'll write it down, I'll sketch it somewhere, I'll make a list. I'm like, I gotta take note of this because I have so many ideas coming in randomly. Like there's ideas that I go back to, like whether it's in my sketchbooks or in my phone from years ago. And I'm like, I'm gonna come back to this one day when I have more resources, or whenever I just don't have anything else to do, I'm going to come back to this and I'm going to have something to work on. So it's huge for me to like always make sure that my ideas come to life, because I think it is a tragedy for artists to, and I've been a witness to this numerous times, for artists to have a talent and they don't utilize it to its full potential, and they get stuck in a rut, like working regular jobs or something, and they're like, oh well, I used to draw, or I used to dabble in that a little bit, but they didn't give themselves the time or the space to explore that. So one of the ways that I honor myself.
Ebony, can we time out real quick? Hold on, real quick. I'm sorry. Hold on. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Here we go.
Oh,
Yes.
appreciate that. Thank you so much. What you gonna change back?
No.
Oh, appreciate that. Thank you.
I'm sorry. I was in the interview. I didn't mean to. I tried to time you, but no. Thank you very much. You too. Okay. Okay. I'm editing that. I'm editing that. So okay, my fault.
Okay.
I was editing that, but no. So yeah. So I got you there. Man. Okay. So. No, but I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt us, but okay.
Oh, you're good.
So this is all gonna be edited, but really, what I'm excited. I'm so excited because I'm not gonna lie, everybody. Like, I feel like I'm gonna have a side interview and like with Ebony, like what I'm saying, because of all the amazing things she says. Because it kind of goes into a segue with what I'm going to ask next, but I want to touch base on what she says about writing things down, because even for me, like I've always, since I was little, I've always written down my goals, New Year's resolutions. Like I was that kid doing the New Year's resolutions all the time. And like, it was like a point of like, as I was younger, it'd be like maybe 1, 2 things I'd accomplish. But as I got older, it'd be like 4 or 5 or 6, 7, or like, and I know it's like when they say, like, even when you're talking about more of like a spiritual thing, like when you write your vision, you make it plain, and manifesting things like really. And then also like when you write things down, you're able to remember it more than you're just thinking it in your head. And so when you write it down, it's almost like a pact, and like you're making it like a pact of what's about to happen. And I've noticed as I've written things down, things have become a reality. And of course, it's not probably like on our time, like it's on God's time. But then I know this is a side tangent, but like even if you guys follow like Steve Harvey, there's like this clip, if you guys look on YouTube, where it's like 300 visions. He challenged you to write 300 visions out, and he guarantees you like in a year, like 30 of them will at least happen. But the fact that like it's like it makes you stretch, because some people want, like, you may be like the first 50, you like, okay, you can go on the road, but then as you get to past that, it's like, what more can I think of? But then you start really thinking, it's like there's a lot that you can like envision, and so that's why I feel like I want to have a side interview with Ebony, because so much I feel like we're alike in that way. And like, because that's me all day. Like I have notepads everywhere. I got like my notepad. I got a notepad app, and like I just write notes all day. And then, and even like when people ask me like, hey, like, can I see your sketchbooks or whatever? And they'd be like, oh, there's no images in here. Like, no, it's writing. Like it's a lot of writing. So even when I'm working on my pieces, I just write like what I'm seeing, like colors or what the concepts are, but I already have the image in my head. But like when I'm writing it, it helps to know what I'm doing in terms of composing it. And I think that's the same in terms of even with your vision. Like, okay, you have a elephant, you're trying to accomplish this big dream. You can't eat the elephant in one sitting. So how do you do it? Piece by piece. So that's the same thing when you're trying to accomplish these goals. It's like, okay, break this down into small tasks. And then you have like short-term, long-term, but then what are you doing daily? Then break that incrementally. And then and don't pressure yourself, because let's say you don't get this task done. Okay, just carry it to the next day. So that's why I do on my phone. I like click and drag, copy and paste it. Like, today's the 29th. Okay, what am I doing the 30th? And then, if I don't get this done, I'll just carry it over and give myself grace. But then know, like, the fact that you're doing bit by bit by bit, it's like you're gonna just you're gonna be able to accomplish this thing and bite this whole elephant. You're gonna break this whole elephant thing down. So I'm just excited for Ebony, and this is so kind of going into, I have two last questions. So one is, if someone was to ask you and they're trying to be like you, where you are today or where you're headed, what advice would you give them, like that you would leave for them to encourage them to be a creative like yourself?
So one of the things that I would encourage very heavily is to give yourself space to be creative. Give yourself permission to be creative, to explore that creativity. And don't worry about what anyone else has to say about it. Don't absorb outside opinions, because it can be the biggest factor in what inspires you or what you allow to influence your creativity. And then I would say that when you start exploring that creativity, whatever resonates with you the most, you stick with that, or whatever inspires you, whatever you're passionate about, you stick with that. And don't compare yourself to other artists. Don't compare yourself to artists that you feel like are further along than you, or they are in a space where you wish you were, because you would be surprised at where your consistency could take you. And then 3 years down the line, 5 years later, you can look back at where you started and be like, wow, like, I can't believe like this is where I started and I'm here now. Because you have no idea what kind of opportunities could come your way. You have no idea who's watching you. You have no idea like who you could inspire by creating, by taking that leap of faith. So I would just say, whatever you feel like exploring, whatever you want to do, or something you've always wanted to do, don't wait till someone gives you permission to do that. You have to give that to yourself and just go for it.
Man, it's like, I know, like for me, I'm always just in general, like I like to add like flavor to something, or always talking. Like I'm gonna just let that breathe, like, cause what Ebony did there, like it's literally like you just went to Zales, you went to the jewelry store, got some gems. She hooked you up with some great information, and again, like throughout this interview, you're seeing her great work, and what she said is so encouraging. And please, like, artists, I know y'all relate to that, what she just said. Like I know I've been through that. And I've just noticed, like just said, to stay in your lane. Like she mentioned with all those other artists that she was admiring, that they stayed in their lane. And that's like the best thing you can do. And you just be surprised, like where you go, if you stay in your lane, definitely be aware of what's around you, but definitely don't get engrossed with what like this person's doing, that person's doing, because you're gonna take away from what you do. And each artist has their own individual fingerprint, just like,
Right.
we all have our own fingerprint. And that means even though we're all human, we're the same. Just like there's millions of artists out there, but there's no way one artist can just exactly replicate what another artist is thinking, because we're all with different minds, different people, have a composite of different experiences. So and
I just I don't mean to cut you off, but I just wanted to add on to that, along to what I was saying before, with staying in your lane and giving yourself permission to create. When I say that, it doesn't have to like be explicit to like what I do or what another artist is doing. It could be like poetry, it could be writing, it could be dancing, it could be anything. But what I wanted to add on to that is, whatever you're going after, you dang, what was I just about to say? I'm losing it now. Give me 1 second. I got it.
Yeah. No, she's thinking.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. I got it. That's what I wanted to say is, when you're going after what you want to do and you stick with it, you stay consistent, somebody out there is looking for what you're doing. Somebody out there is looking exactly for the type of art that you create, and you'll never know until you run into them. And it's not to say like just create to wait for somebody to buy your art, because it's not about that exactly, but you don't know the type of impact that your art is going to have on somebody. And maybe God could be working through you to get to that point. So I just wanted to add on to that because that's a big factor in a part of what could inspire someone to keep going.
And and thank you for that. And as some people, you'll notice in some of the different programming that I'm doing here at Creation TV, it's really, there are some things that definitely have come from a spiritual base and from God. So like I'm a Christian man, so I think that's what I reflect in what I'm doing, and I realize that art is a gift, and being creative is a gift, and you can use it to impact people. Like I remember just even stuff that I'd even do for people, I'd see people cry, or just like being able to do something special for someone, and like I'm telling you, like you never know. And like even what you kind of go, and I can go on tangents with that, but like what Ebony just said in terms of how you're doing something, you don't know what's being, it's almost like there's an audience that's ready for you. And like if there's a, just like everybody, like if you look at even in the business sense, there's a niche out there. There's an audience waiting for what you have to offer. But you if you're not tapped into your own uniqueness and what you bring in, like you don't know. You could be serving something that like people been waiting for, dying and waiting for, because there's already stuff that exists out there, but you can have something that separates yourself from everybody. And I think sometimes like we just get so caught up in the competition, what's out there, but you don't know you got the juice. You got the juice that people waiting for, So just think about that. And also the last and one of the most important questions, because we've been talking to Ebony this whole time, we've been seeing all her work. Where can they find Ebony Muse? Where can they find her work? Give them the breakdown of where they can find you, support you, buy your work, go to your shows.
So my art can be found on Instagram, Ebony Muse Art. I also have TikTok and Facebook as well. I also have an Etsy store by the same name. And right now I'm transitioning from Etsy into my own storefront eventually, to where I will be offering all of my services and artwork for sale. But you can still find me on Etsy, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok.
Okay, so this is probably one of the amazing conversations I've had with the fellow artist and creative, and just her talent so amazing. And guys, just definitely please support her. And did you have any last words that you wanted to tell the people? Like what you anything else you want to leave us with before we head out of this episode?
Off the top of my head, I can just say like I really hope that, well, it's my hope that as I share my work with the world, that it impacts somebody to create, and it guides someone out there, anybody out there, to want to explore what art means to them, and find healing in that, because art, in my opinion, is very healing. I've found a lot of healing through that throughout the years, just exploring my spirituality. So whatever that does for anyone else out there, I would say to go for it and stay dedicated to what's natural to you. Because like I said, like you never know who's watching, you never know where that's going to take you or what you're meant to be doing in this lifetime. So I hope that I can be an inspiration for others out there. That is my dream, and hopefully this will lead me to meeting more creatives such as myself and you as well. And I'm just grateful for the opportunity. So thank you.
All right, so man, this is another amazing episode. This is Ebony Muse here. This is Torin Washington. This is another episode of Process. And like I said, when Ebony left all the her information, I provide that in the captions. I'm also providing the captions as well here, and so you'll be able to see where to find her, where to follow her. Stay tuned for the latest updates from her. She's an amazing talent, so more stuff is coming. So the world, hey, it's about to be on fire. She's about to light this thing on fire. So, all right, guys. Well, thanks again for joining us, and this is another episode of Process. Ebony Muse, Torin Washington, signing off. Peace.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. Wait. Okay. So I know I'm like on this is less than 1 minute. look, this I'm gonna send you my number on